session. And Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Today's co-host is Pallavi. And over to you, Nitinji. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Pallavi ji, and thank you, Sunil Bhai and Madan ji, for a wonderful session. So, Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your day. Had a wonderful day. Welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom. If you're joining in for the first time, we'd love to know about you. You can put it on the chat or in the feedback tracker, and we'll be in touch with you. So, welcome. We are, in the third chapter right now. We are in the recap series, is what we are doing. We pick up one verse and go really deep into it. That is the process we follow for our sessions. And it's never too late to join these sessions because we go back and forth to make sure that as a group, we are on board with all the key concepts. Okay, so it's never too late. Don't think that a lot of sessions have already gone by. You'll be surprised to see within a matter of few months, you will be not only talking and breathing Gita, but will be reciting shlokas as well. Okay, so that is the whole idea. So welcome everyone once again. Let me share my screen and we will get started. I will share my screen. Let me know if you're able to see it.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so welcome again. Let's get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. All right. Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening again, all of you. So welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Like I always say, it's a huge fortune and privilege to be able to read Bhagavad Gita on a daily basis. So this satsang, it has just fallen on our lap by grace of God and Guru. Doesn't happen so easily. So for whatever reason it has happened, you can pinch yourself because we are one of the, few hundred people out of the 7 billion population, more than 7 billion now, who get this unique opportunity. And if you statistically calculate it, it is about 6 to 7 zeros, proportion wise, which is a technical definition of a miracle. So that is how slim the odds are of reading Bhagavad Gita on a regular basis. And we are extremely fortunate and should feel good about it. So let's get started. We will pick up this shloka, chapter 3, verse 16, and we will talk about the concept of slavery. And Shyamji is going to get very excited about when I will tell the story who's doing this slavery. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to recite this shloka and then you're welcome to follow along. Just give me a sec. All right. Evam pravartitam chakram Nanuvartayati hayaha Aghayurindriya ramo Mogham partha sajivati. All right,
So today we have a couple of hand raised. Samji is not first.
Oh,
so
she's not first?
Rahulji is first today.
Was there a photo finish today? All right, go ahead. Let's pick up a few hands.
Rahulji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Evam pravartitam chakram nanu vartayati yaha athayud indriya ramo mogham partha sajivati. Radhe Radhe.
I know it's a bit of a tongue twister, but you did well, Rahul. Thank you.
Thank you.
Radhe Radhe, Samji.
Radhe Radhe. एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति हयः अघायुरिन्द्रियारामो मोघं पार्थ स जीवति.
Very nice, Sam. All right.
Radhe Radhe. Nitinji, actually I wanted to tell that today in other session we played shipwreck and they were asking with whose personality would you take. I thought of telling Advanced Devotees Association, but it was already answered by someone. And specifically, I wanted to say, without a second thought, I would say Nitinji with me, someone who pushes me in devotional service. If I am still feeling stubborn, someone who will kick me so that I'll fly and directly fall at the feet of Radha Krishna in Golok. No looking back. Somehow you should kick me in spiritual progress. They told not to tell God and Guru's name. So that is the condition they placed.
All right.
That's why I did not tell Swamiji.
I feel privileged and honored to have been given the honor of kicking, okay? Although I would say holding hand in this case, not kicking. But
Yeah.
thank you nevertheless. As long as you are being
It's our
receptive,
privilege to get your association, Nitinji.
if you are being receptive and positive, wonderful things will happen. And we are all here to help each other out. Wonderful. Keep up the positivity. Great, Sam. Let's move on.
Aparna ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Aparna ji.
Radhe Radhe. Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati yaha aghayur indriya ramo mogham partha sajivati.
Very nice, Aparna ji. Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
Sandhya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Sandhya.
Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayaha aghayur indriyaramo mogham partha sajivati.
All right, we'll pick the last 5 hands and then get started real quick.
Anita ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Anita ji.
Radhe Radhe. Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayaha aghayurindriya ramo mogham partha sajivati.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, thank you. Let's pick up the remaining 4 hands, 4 or 5.
Sumesh ji, Radhe Radhe, please
Radhe
go
Radhe,
ahead.
Sumesh ji.
Radhe Nitinji, Radhe Radhe. Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayaha aghayurindriyaramo mogham partha sajivati. Radhe Radhe. Thank
Radhe
you.
Radhe, thank you very much. All right.
Shyam ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Evam pravartitam chakram nanurvartayati hayah aghayurindriya ramo mogham partha sajivati. Radhe Radhe.
Okay, let's do the last 3. Freeze it at that and get started then.
Riya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Riya ji.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayaha aghayurindriya ramo mogham partha sajivati.
Wonderful.
Radhe Radhe.
Riya ji. All right, last 2.
Ragi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartyati hayaha aghayur indriya ramo mogham partha jivati.
Wonderful. Thank you. Last but not the least, Chandru ji.
Chandru ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Chandru ji, please go ahead.
Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayah aghayur indriya ramo mogham partha Jivati.
Thank you, Chandruji. Radhe Radhe. All right, so let's get started. In this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying, O Parth, those who do not accept their responsibility in the cycle of sacrifice established by the Vedas are sinful. Now, just to quickly connect the dots where we are, we spoke about the prescribed duties. Then we said the prescribed duties are provided to us in the Vedas. And then Lord Krishna built the context that as humans, we have to perform our prescribed duties so that we are also contributing and not being a free rider in this entire creation. And when we do not do it with a spirit of sacrifice, which is called yoga, and we do it with an intention of enjoyment, which is bhog, then it leads to rog. Basically, the sinful activities, it is how it is considered. So bhog leads to rog, yoga leads to God. Okay. Now, they live only for the delight of their senses. Indeed, their lives are in vain. Now, this is a very strong statement Lord Krishna is making here. He's saying people who spend their entire lifetime just catering to their senses, they live their life in vain. Okay, it's a wasted life. Okay, and we'll see why and what do we need to do. Let's talk about it. So this is what we are going to talk about. Shackles are not good. I think everybody would agree. Anybody who says no shackles are good, you can raise your hand and we'll settle this argument once and for all. Okay, good. Nobody is agreeing to that. Being enslaved is not a good situation to be in. Right? It gives the advantage to the person under whom you are being enslaved. Okay, and as you look at this guy, there is a hook, right? This guy has to the senses, 5 senses. And it's a shackle that all of us are subjected to, okay? Whether you know it or you don't know it. But if you'll think deeply about it, you'll understand this is the shackle. It's a self-enforced shackle. And then we do have a technology to break out of the shackle as well. We will talk a little bit about that as well. So let's get started with the topic of our discussion today. Now the chakra or the cycle, as you see, these gears, they are moving. It is an ordered series of events. That means one thing is happening, leading to another, and it all falls in place so that it works like a well-oiled machine. That is how this entire cosmos, universe, or creation is designed. Now, this grain to grain cycle we have spoken about, right? No rain, no grain, no pain, no gain. So that is how it goes. All members of this universal wheel, they perform their actions, their duties, and they contribute towards its smooth rotation. That is what is expected. And everybody is working as per the script only. Moon is working as per the script. Sun is working as per the script. Yamaraj is working as per the script. And so are the celestial gods. They are working as per the script, what they are supposed to do. It's humans who have a tendency to become the free riders, where they are not obeying the script because because of their ignorance. Second, they think of themselves as the Parampurush, the enjoyers, the supreme enjoyer, okay, forgetting the constitutional position. And ignorance is not a bliss. Our scriptures say that. Now, if you're not exposed to this knowledge for whatever reason, that's not an excuse. Okay. The point here is whenever we wake up, we make it a priority and start acquiring this knowledge systematically and hope God will bestow his grace in form of a guru one day. Okay. Now, these are the duties, basically prescribed duties. When you do that, it results in rain results in grain, and that helps support this entire ecosystem. Now, you could be a householder, you could be a painter, you could be a musician, teacher, cricketer, whatever. If you're doing your prescribed duties based on the station of life you are in, then you are contributing towards the purpose of this creation. Okay, that is the hygiene criteria to justify our existence as human beings. Okay, and if we are being free riders, then there are repercussions, there are impacts. Okay, that is what this shloka is talking about. Because we partake the fruits of this natural cycle, we too must do our bounden duty in the chain. Okay, we have to first understand the duty and do the chain. And that is basically consuming with the spirit of sacrifice and understanding the principle behind it. If we don't do that, if we do it simply for our sensory gratification, then there is no difference between us and the lower species, which is animals as well. Ahar, bhay, maithun, and nidra. These four things, ahar means eating, bhay means fear, defending themselves, bhay, maithun means procreation, and nidra means sleeping. Even animals do. How does it differentiate us? No way. Right? It is called we simply lead a deluxe animal life if we cater ourselves to these four primal activities, catering to our senses alone. And to whom much is given, more is expected, right? Like with great power comes great responsibility, Spider-Man. Similarly, we are the Spider-Man of all the species, okay? Because God has given us an intellect which can climb any mountain, like Spider-Man does. So it comes with a big responsibility as well. Now, we humans are the only ones in this chain who have been bestowed with the ability to choose our actions by our free will. We are the only ones who have the free will. Others don't have it. They are scripted and they have to follow the script. Okay. And every fruit has been scripted. They will produce the same result time after time. It's not like orange is going to morph into a lemon one day just for the sake of fun. Cannot happen. Or tiger, even though it's feeling hungry, when it sees human and say, you know what, eating humans is not good. I'm not scripted to eat humans, even though it is flesh. So I will not do it. It will eat it and it will not incur any sin because it does not have that discrimination or vivek ability which only humans are endowed with. Okay, they are scripted to cater to their senses and instincts alone. And it contributes to the harmony of the cycle when we exercise our free will. It brings discord in the smooth running of this cosmic mechanism when we perform our prescribed duties. And when the majority of the people, human society accept the responsibility to live as an integral part of the universal system, then prosperity reigns and spiritual growth is also engendered. Those are called golden eras. Okay. They become golden eras in the social and cultural history of humankind. And this actually contributes to the cosmic creation as well. So if you look at it, when you start violating these principles as an integral part of cosmic system, then the material nature, it starts to punish. Peace and prosperity becomes scarce in that case. You'll have unrest or some kind of Adidevic problems, tornadoes, cyclones, drought spells and stuff like that. It comes because most of the people, they have shunned away from their responsibilities and primarily catering to their senses and resorting to exploitative practices alone. Okay, so that is the reason where we have to think about the big picture. Even corporates are trying to align to that now, right? The CSR initiative is like, okay, you get everything from society. What is your responsibility towards society now? Do something in return. And as part of that, they have initiated CSR, corporate social responsibility initiatives. I hope it is being done in letter and spirit, but that is the whole idea. Everybody is thinking how we can give back so that we can contribute and not just taking from the universal forces around us. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
Yes, Sandhya ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe. So like what are our obligatory duties? So can I say that enabling our body for in the service of God, so whatever duties are required for doing that, or because then this obligation can be expanded by different people.
True.
Right?
It's a very good question. So it really depends on your trajectory, spiritual trajectory, which position you are on. So what you are talking about is, if you talk about duties, there are two kinds of duties, dharma, so to say. One is called paradharma, and what is aparadharma. So yes, eventually, if you talk about at a higher level, the only purpose of human life, the soul, for our soul, is to develop love and devotion for God, because that will take us closer to the goal of our life. Having said that, if that was everybody could understand that, then the Vedas would have spoken about that only. But if you look at Vedas, 80% of it is Karam Kand. It talks about ritualistic activities because God knew people, for them to have this realization that they are a soul, and the sole purpose of soul is to realize God or develop love for God. But people will not understand. So it has focused on Karamkand, ritualistic and fruitive results based activities, so that people can, who are operating at the level of platform of body, thinking of themselves as a body, can follow certain rules and regulations, do their prescribed duties depending upon whether they are a Brahman, Kshatriya, Shudra or Vaishya, which occupation they are in. They perform it. That will help them in disciplining their mind and senses and get to the next level. And as they keep on graduating, final thing is to develop love for God only. But it has to be a journey for most. See, it is like, it is sugar coated, right? If you look at the fruitive results of Vedas, it is sugar coated. Now, Live 52. How many of you have had Live 52 as a kid? I think most of us would have had Live 52, right? It's a medicine for liver. Okay, so supposed to be a tonic for liver. However, the original form of Live 52, the way it was, very bitter. If you have it, you will not be able, kids will never take it. And I remember I used to look forward to having Live 52. Why? Because they realized if they mix it with syrup, sugar, kids will love it. And in the process, their liver will also get a bit of a tonic. So similarly, Vedas, although the Upasana Kand is 20% devotion, which is the real deal, but majority do not care about it, right? It will take a bit of a spiritual evolution to get to that stage. And that is why our Vedas talk about the Karam Kand, Vedic rituals and all that aspect of it. But what you are talking about is, yes, it's a high level doctorate message for sure for all. But until we are ready for it, we have to do our prescribed duties to the best of our ability in accordance with the injunctions of our scriptures is the real message. Even though those are sugar coated, you do that, right? People give all these arguments, do this. If all of us become sannyasi, then who will run the world and all these things, that is there. But eventually the end game is for us to become sannyasis, not sannyasis, but attach our mind to God and look at this world in proper perspective only. Okay. And next time this argument comes in your mind, just think one thing, make it Brahmaji's problem. Okay. The God has not given running this world, the responsibility of running this world on your fragile shoulders. Okay. Like this guy who was the director, Subhash Ghai, he put the responsibility of that entire movie Kisna on the fragile shoulders of Vivek Oberoi, right? It was, what happened. So we are not supposed to shoulder the burden of running this universe. Don't worry about that. Focus on the spiritual journey. If everybody becomes detached, dispassionate, and starts becoming like a monk, at least from inside, they can continue to be in a household and still be a monk. It's an internal thing. Then it will be a good problem to have for Brahmaji. Okay, we don't have to worry about it. He will fix it. There are enough people who are ready to go, to keep this world moving forward. I hope I answered your question and not confused you.
You answered my question. Thank you.
There's a quotation in English which says, if you can't convince them, confuse them. Okay. So that is why so many things that something will fall. Yeah, Urvi, you had a question as well?
Yeah. Radhe Radhe Urviji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Actually, I just wanted to add a small thing because I also had this thing in mind that what are my obligatory duties and all. But then the plus point is when you have a guru, so whatever the guru says, that becomes your obligatory duty. And apart from that, you can leave everything. So if you're told study, then study, give up studies, and give up studies, that becomes your duty.
See, so simple. You have to find one person in your life where you can become Sharnagat. It makes life simple, right? So in this spiritual case, once you find a guru, it's simplified. With our buddhi, we will not understand what is the best thing for us to do. Guru will simply give you an instruction, follow it, job is done. Delegate your worries, okay, to your guru. That is the best thing. And even otherwise, it's a good strategy to have one person. Like I have found at least 3-4 people for, if I have to do some kind of a material analysis, which I'm not good at. So I have a friend, I just tell him and he will do all the pros and cons of everything in life. If I have to plan for a trip, I'm not good at it. I have a friend who will do everything. So find one person and become Sharnagat. It keeps life simple. And in spirituality, that one person has to be Guru, Shruti and Brahmanist Guru. Just keeps your life simple. Just follow his instruction and you will keep moving ahead in your spiritual journey because they know precisely where you are and what is impeding your growth and what you need to do to go from point A to point B. They know exactly where you are. And that keeps it very simple. Yes, Prakashi, you had a question as well?
Prakashji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
When it comes to the duties, typically I find difficulty in balancing between professional, family, and spiritual. So often I compromise on the spending time with the families, and give more tendency towards spiritual, either attending satsang or doing some sadhana. So during that course, I am kind of neglecting the family duty. So is that a sin or something like, what is your take on that? Just wanted to say.
No, it's basically we got to be responsible around it. Now, if we have entered the householder life and not lucky enough to know it beforehand, like a lot of people are, then we cannot run away from it. Now, how much is adequate enough? I think that is very subjective, right? I try to balance it out in a manner, I don't know. I mean, I always feel I'm not spending enough time. I always have that feeling. But then I think you have to take a judicious call around it, because we have to do justice to all the relationships around us as well. But how much is enough is something that you have to take a call, because it's like food and water, right? We have to take it both. So we cannot neglect our spiritual duties if we are committed to sevas, sadhana, and our own physical well-being, which is our yoga or health, whatever we need to do. And at the same time, that part is also not. So this is all about a balancing act in our life, right? Swamiji has written in his latest book, all these aspects are personal, professional, financial, spiritual. They all have to be handled very, very carefully. And we just need to take a call on it. How much is enough? And when can we say it's not happening at the expense of other? So it's more of an art than a science. There's no formula for it. Really. And what I'm seeing is that when we start making spirituality as a focal point of our life, rest of the things usually start cooperating better. But if it's not, we still have to do justice. We can't turn our back away from other things and say, hey, now I have found the goal of my life and to hell with you, right? We can't say that, because now we have entered into that responsibility. So it's more of an art than a science, but that feeling is always there. I think only God and Guru would know if we are even doing justice to it or not, but we do it with the sincerity of heart and purity of intention to the best of our abilities. That feeling will always reign. Even I have that, right? Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? But you try your best and be sincere. I think that's the best we can do.
Nitinji, very beautifully answered. But can I add a little bit to that?
Sure, please.
I struggled a long time, Prakashji, with the same question, that what is enough and how to balance and all that, and what is my duty. But I tell you, I'm in a situation where my husband has traveling job, and I have to manage household, my work, everything together. So I always, whenever I'm doing all other duties, I always keep chanting continuously, so that I feel that I'm doing it for Krishna. And that is my way of offering.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That is how I'm doing satsang, or that is how I'm performing my duties.
Very nice. Very beautifully said. I'm glad you brought that point. Like Swami Vivekananda had said that no work is secular. Everything is devotional. Now, even doing our family duties, you purify your so that. I'm doing it so that I get time for my seva and sadhana without having to worry about it. I'm working hard, so that my boss is happy and company, I'm able to do justice to my paycheck, so that, my the food on the table is paid for and EMIs are paid for, so that I can do my seva and sadhana with a peace of mind. So that when we start attaching it to a bigger purpose, that purifies, that makes everything devotional at that point, right?
And magically things start happening beautifully also. And we start feeling that there's no burden in our shoulder.
True.
All the burdens are taken away.
Beautiful. Very nice.
I feel that way. It was really beautiful to start a day with affirmation that whatever we are doing is doing for God. True. Krishna Marpanam Astu, then everything starts falling in place.
It's very true. So even the family time that you are spending, it's like, okay, this is a responsibility Krishna has put on our shoulders, and I want to do it to the best of my ability. It's like when we marry somebody or we love somebody, essentially we are marrying and love. We have to take care of their entire family, and our family and the rest of the world is Krishna's, God's family only, right? So we better take care of Krishna's guests or family members as well. So when we start building that consciousness, everything becomes devotional at that point, and that is essentially what Karam Yoga is.
Thank you, Nitinji. There is one quick question. It's related. That's why. Is it okay if we take it?
Sure. Let's do that, and then I'll cover. Have a few more slides to cover.
Ashutosh ji has asked, isn't it running away from our responsibility if we ask others to help other than Guru?
Others to help other than Guru? Help what? Help in what?
So I think it's like, I believe that asking for help. Like what Urvi was saying, that let's follow what Guru says. So that's what I think the question is in follow-up kind of that isn't it running away from our responsibility if we always ask others to help us? Right. I think it is like something not taking charge. Oh, okay. Ashutosh ji has raised.
Yeah, the ideal state is becoming Nirashrit. If you go to our Narad Bhakti Darshan, they say the final state for us has to be Nirashrit, where we only have Ashray on God and Guru, nothing else. But it is a pretty advanced stage. In the lead up or build up to that, of course, we have to reduce our dependency and not keep building on where my happiness lies on this person. Only if this person does this, I'll be happy, or I need this, or so many things for me to have that peace of mind. So that tendency has to be reduced over time for sure. We'll come back to that. Let's continue with our discussion so that we don't go too tangent right now. Now, the wheel of nature has been set up by God as we see that. It is basically for disciplining and training, right? It's like the job of commando training. So this world is like a gymnasium. Swami Vivekananda had said, basically to strengthen ourselves. If we don't have the testing, if we don't face the challenges, we will remain where we are. It will not present us with an opportunity to become a better version of ourselves. Okay, so this is how the wheel of nature has been designed. And if you look at it, and this is basically to elevate all living beings to varying level of consciousness. Now, if a sant or a saint or an elevated soul looks at the same opportunity, even the reversal as an opportunity to grow. And a common man thinks as a reversal, oh my God, what has happened? And they'll break. So really depends on how you are utilizing the situations in life for your spiritual upliftment. Okay, that is how the world is designed. And Lord Krishna is saying those do not perform the yagna enjoined of them become slaves of their senses. They live in vain. That is essentially what he's saying in this shloka. Okay, then you have to carry this burden. And what is this burden? What we are thinking of as enjoyment is truly a burden we are carrying. And that burden is that of slavery. Okay. We are slaves and enslaved by our senses. This is how it is, right? Did you remember that example from Kathopanishad? Those horses. Horses are our senses. And the reins is our mind. The charioteer is the intellect. And the passenger is the soul. Now, horses are running wild. Wherever they take us, the chariot is going in that direction. What does that mean? It means that we are completely at the mercy of our senses in this life with absolutely no control. If that is the case, Krishna is saying, then you are living your life in vain. Okay. So, on the other side, I hope you like the heart. Persons conforming to the divine law become pure at heart and free from material contamination. Okay. So I've introduced this heart because as a lead up to the Valentine Day. Okay, we'll see more of hearts as we close Feb 14th. Now, when you start conforming to the divine laws, which we are going to talk about, then you become pure at heart and free from material contamination. And what is the material contamination? This is the material contamination, Sato, Rajas, and Tamas. No matter what you do in this world, you will be basically playing one of these three gunas. Either you will be in Tamas or Rajas or Sattva. Even Sattva is binding. And it is also called contaminating. It is not entirely pure because it is just being good, which will take us to the celestial abodes at best, but still not beyond Maya. It's only through Shuddha Sattva we get there. So, when you perform your prescribed duties for the pleasure of God, that's when you knock off these three gunas. You go beyond that. In the case of Arjun, what did he do? He was supposed to fight the war. And after reading Bhagavad Gita, what did he do? He still fought the war. What changed? What changed was his motivation. Like we are talking about Prakashji, I'm doing the work in the world, family work. What would change basically after having spiritual knowledge? What would change is the motivation behind it. Previously, Arjun was doing it for the sake of enjoying the kingdom with a sense of vengeance towards Kauravas. Now, after reading Bhagavad Gita, he did the same act, but he did it not for his own sensory pleasure that he's going to enjoy the kingdom, but for the pleasure of God as a matter of his duty. That changed. Same act. He fought the war. So every act can actually be made devotional when we do it for the pleasure of God, with a spirit of sacrifice, not with a spirit of enjoyment for ourselves. That is essentially the gist of these shlokas that Lord Krishna is talking about. Now, what is slavery? Let's go a little deeper into this topic. Slavery, as you see, the guy on the right, he's slave. It is a condition in which a human being is owned by another. Right? US became free from the slavery as well. There was used to be, anyways. Now, and the person who is slave is deprived of most of the rights ordinarily held by free persons. Okay, that is the definition of slavery. However, in the eyes of law, they are not its subjects. For example, if an ox or an axe, the slave is not ordinarily held responsible for he or she did. Because if you are working under the orders of somebody else, then you will not be held accountable for that crime. If you commit a crime or a sinful deed, typically this is how the slave-master relationship is established. The master will be punished for that. Okay. Really, in this case, in our case, basically, we are doing a voluntary slavery and a slavery in ignorance. It is still a slavery. Now, will it take the responsibility of the slave for the acts performed as a slave? No, it will not. It will basically see the slaves will not get penalized. Your senses will not get penalized. Who will get penalized? The master. Who is the master of the senses? Your mind. Who's the master of your mind? Intellect. Who's the master of your intellect? Soul. So buck stops at soul. And how will soul exercise its dominion over the senses? By exercising the power that intellect has over mind and mind has over senses. How can intellect exercise the power over mind? By activating the right kind of knowledge. And where will the right kind of knowledge come? It will come from scriptures, by reading Bhagavad Gita, by repeatedly contemplating on that knowledge until we become intellectually convinced. And that is why our soul has to carry the burden of the sinful deeds which are performed because of the slavery of senses that we are doing, just catering to the sensual pleasures alone and thinking about those as the goal of our life. So when we think of ourselves as a body, unless we are doing things which are in accordance with our prescribed duties, then we are simply catering to our senses. So the goal of human life becomes sensory pleasures alone. That is the goal of human life when you think yourself as a body. But the more you start having a realization that you're not a body but a goal, then goal of human life becomes God realization. And this question is, anyway, the very premise of Bhagavad Gita as we started was, we are not a body but a soul. So the direction in which we have made the goal of our life as all the worldly pursuits and sensually pleasure, that direction itself is wrong. Okay. Now, what do we do? All that is fine, but how do we break this slavery relationship that we have established? Let's talk about a little bit about it. What do you see? I think you see, does anybody know what's, it's not bamboos, by the way. It is sugarcane. Okay. And it is a sugarcane. Okay. You see beautiful sugarcane. So just imagine if, okay, now we're going to get sugarcane juice also. But before we get into the juice, just imagine that, oops, too many things. So the sugarcane juice is coming out and this guy is suffering from jaundice. Okay, you give him the sugarcane juice. And how will it taste to this guy? Like a bitter gourd or a Karela juice. Now, is the fault in the juice or is in the fault is in the sensory perception of this guy? Whose fault is it? Of course, he's suffering from jaundice. Sugarcane juice is sweet only, but it will seem bitter to begin with because of the conditioning that this guy has. By the way, these sugarcane, if Vedas are to be thought of as sugarcane, and just imagine if sugarcane could have a fruit also, how sweet it will be. Sugarcane does not have a fruit, by the way. It is a fruit in itself. But if sugarcane was a tree and it had a fruit, it will be very sweet. So it is said that if our Vedas are these sugarcane, then Bhagavatam is the fruit of Vedas. Okay, so Bhagavatam is the cream of all the scriptures because it is loaded with devotion for God. Okay. Now let's look at this analogy. Sugarcane juice is provided, it will seem very bitter to this person. This basically means that this is material conditioning, because the jaundice that I was talking about is our material conditioning, where our senses go for the lower level of taste. Okay. And this is of senses, material conditioning of our senses, where your ears will say, I just want to listen to Yo-Yo Honey Singh or Badshah. Okay, that is a material conditioning because it hasn't gotten the higher ras of bhajans and bhakti ras. And that is why your ears will say, I just want to hear that, how catchy that music is. Similarly, our other senses, they have become conditioned because of repeated practice of lifetimes, and they like certain taste. However, in order to, and what is the sugarcane juice? It is the juice of devotional ras, the bhakti that we talk about. That bhakti in form of three ways we can do, right? Sadhana, satsang, and seva. This is called devotional ras. Now, if somebody is suffering from jaundice, just because they find it bitter does not mean it is bitter. What do? You keep on feeding them, force feed them sugarcane. So two things will happen. It will not only cure jaundice, but also the true taste of sugarcane juice will be revealed. It will seem sweeter after a while because the jaundice is cured. So same person, once the jaundice is cured, their conditioning, you start getting better. Sadhana bhakti and bhav bhakti we spoke about. Now it will be sweet and blissful, but you need to force feed yourself initially until you start developing the higher taste. Right now, your senses will not cooperate. This vicious cycle of deepening your sensual indulgence has to be broken by us only. God, Guru will give us the knowledge, but it's only through our own contemplation and practice can we break this vicious cycle. And when you keep force feeding yourself higher taste of bhajan, sadhana, satsang, seva, and it's just a matter of time before you will start relishing that taste, and you will develop a craving and a greed for it, which is a good greed to have. Okay. How does it work? So our mind, it is said, if our mind were to be equated to something, it is actually a very old, soiled, dirty cloth because of so many countless impressions of so many lives of the three gunas, the material contamination that we spoke about. Now, if you have to clean a cloth, you have to apply a detergent and clear water to it. That is the only way to clean a cloth, right? When we put it in laundry. Similarly, our mind is like that dirty cloth. So many impressions. You see so many colors from so many lifetimes. This is how our mind is, very dirty and old. The only way to purify it is because it is tainted with these three colors. When you apply it to something pure, which is God or God-realized saints. And then God has given us 6 more things to us to think about. Okay, he said, all right, you need variety. I'll give you variety. You gun, roop, leela, naam, dham, parikar. Think anything related to that and your mind will start getting cleansed. Your jaundice or cataract will start getting cured. And then you will start relishing the bliss, and then there is no looking back. It may start off as a need. You may have to force feed, but it's a matter of time before it will become a greed. You'll say, I just want this, nothing else. No way I can go back to the, my potlucks and that material parties and all that useless stuff I used to do previously. There's absolutely no way somebody can turn back. That is how relishable this experience is. Okay. With that, I'll take a quick pause. I know we have a few announcements as well, or any questions related to that, because I've been talking nonstop and something is telling me that I should stop now.
Thank you, Nitinji. If I can take a quick moment for announcements. Sure. Yeah. First of all, the feedback tracker is posted in the link. Please put in your comments, feedback, questions in the feedback tracker. I hope you all are able to click on it. And there are a couple of announcements. First is about there's a free symposium. This is Heart Health and Cardiology Symposium. So this is all about the prevention of heart disease and inspire yourself to take on the challenge of your own heart health. And that will be on Saturday, February 11. Online, it will be 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And in person, it will be 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. in Radha Krishna Temple, Alan. I'm going to post the link in chat so that you can get more details about it. Please do register. Please do attend this. It looks like very interesting event. The second one, very important event is Holy Bhakti Yog Online Sadhana Shivir. That will start from 22nd February to 26th February. So this is, Swamiji will be narrating the epic stories of a spiritual India through his discussions on the Bhakti Charit. So saints played an important role in ancient India, particularly in the spiritual and the religious traditions of Hinduism. So please do register yourself. It looks, it is Bhakti Yog Sadhana Shivir. So I'm going to post the link in chat. And upcoming grand celebrations are for Mahashivratri celebrations, February 17th to 19th at Radha Krishna Temple, Alan. I believe they will be online as well. I'll take a look at it and I can share more on this. But there is a link how to join it, and please do join. And last but not the least is Holy celebrations. Join the biggest Holy celebration. Hari Anand and Aditi Singh Sharma performing live. Plenty of exciting activities for all ages. So we'll keep posting. This Holy celebrations will be on Saturday, March 11. So I'm going to post all the information in chat window. Oh yes, very important. One more thing I missed. Sorry about that. Swamiji's upcoming India tour. 8th February to 9th February in Cuttack, Odisha, and 11th February to 15th February at Ranchi. So please do not miss this golden opportunity before Swamiji is coming back to US. So yeah.
Yeah, if you're in around Ranchi, maybe in the adjoining states as well, please check it out and make it a priority to meet him. I'll tell you, it will change the trajectory of your spiritual life. Okay, it will definitely change it. So you can experience it yourself and thank us afterwards. Another thing, we have a Seva Sadhana week coming up in March 5th. So do check it out. And then we have started a new series of daily satsangs. So do avail that opportunity every day, 7 to 8, which is 6:30 to 7:30 India time. Mornings, you can attend a meditation, kirtan, and Swamiji's discourse. It's a wonderful way to start your day and bring it into your daily routine. And there are a lot of sevas open for that as well. We'll talk about sevas. I think Sandhya is all rearing to go for that. But let's take a few questions before that, and then we will have a few announcements and take more questions around it as well. So Nakabugo ji, please go ahead. You had a question.
Nakabugo ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
I'm just asking in this presentation, what does he mean by Parika associates? This the last one. Parika associates.
Oh, Parikars?
Parikar, yeah.
Parikars are basically people with whom God does Leela when he takes on the birth in his personal form, right? For example, his mother, father, friends, and all the people. So when you think about them, those Leelas, it has the same purifying effect. Parikars means the associates in his divine Leelas.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
No worries.
There is one question in the chat. I think it is from Arjun ji. What is the exact meaning of Karm Kand? Is it the various mantras and rituals done for God, or is it about the duties of the 4 ashrams? Even if rituals are sugar coating, they are still accepted by God himself.
True.
Correct? So that is what is.
God himself has said that people with less intellect, they get attracted towards the flowery words of the Vedas. It will come in Bhagavad Gita. I'll pick up that verse too. So the point here is, yes, those are there, which is fine. For devotion, we need to get deeper into that. For most of the people, the Karam Kand aspect is good to get started on the path of spirituality because they are allured by the fruitive things. However, as you get progressing spiritually in devotion, you reject those things and you get to the real thing. Right? It's like going to a journal store. You are very clear about what you need, even though you may have tons of other things out there. So yes, those are there. They are more of an entry point to entice people. No, I shouldn't say entice, but to give them an incentive to train their mind and senses and accept the higher divinity part of it. So they are accepted by God. But that will not lead you to God realization. That will give you better material results, fruitive results, and you still keep rotating around in 8.4 million only. But the idea is go past that and understand the underlying deeper principle around why we have to do it. So that is the whole idea. And there is a shloka that will come. I'll touch upon that as well, where God himself says that often people, they get attracted to the fruitive sections of the Vedas only, and they miss out the big, deeper picture around it. Okay. So yeah, Varnashram Dharam is part of that. The mantra chanting, the Varnashram Dharam, the mantra chanting related to fruitive results, all that comes in Karam Kand only, ritualistic stuff only.
Right. Thank you, Nitinji.
Right.
Sandhya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Sandhya, you wanted to make some announcements?
Yes, Radhe Radhe, one announcement about SMX. So tomorrow, like February 9th, there is Swami Mukundanand exclusive session. So people can, if not in person, if they cannot go to Ranchi and meet, you also have an opportunity to interact with him virtually, get your questions answered directly by him. And it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. So I think people who do not know about this platform or have not yet signed up, please look out. I think Pallaviji, we can probably post about it as well.
Yeah, it's at a very nominal price if you check it out, but it's a great way to connect with Swamiji and get your personal question answered because he meets, I think, twice a month. And it's a great, great platform, not only to get your questions clarified, but also listen to, the day-to-day practical challenges that people are facing and what kind of advice, recommendations Swamiji gives. It's a very, very enriching session. Do check it out, and it's a good way to stay in touch with Swamiji on an ongoing basis. Thank you, Sandhya, for calling that out.
And one thing was my just clarity. So will saints also be included in Parikars, right?
Yeah, they're also his associates, eternal associates. Saints are also his associates.
And satsang in general, like satsangis, for example,
Satsangis, Parikar are typically the God realized, who are part of his leelas, right?
Okay.
So if satsangis are God realized, sure. If they are not, no. So I would err on the side of caution because probability of somebody becoming God realized is, and that person roaming around amongst you is pretty less. So.
Okay.
Yes. Any other questions?
Shyamji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Shyamji.
Radhe Radhe bhai. As you said that we are always performing the duties in the modes of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. ऐसा कभी होगा नहीं कि हम इनके अंडर कभी ना रहें, because whatever we do, it will be always under these three gunas. Isn't it so?
It will be, unless you have started doing things for the pleasure of God. Then you are tapping into Shuddha Sattva, which will eliminate the color of all the three. So uske liye, for that you have to immerse yourself in Sham Rang and Gaur Rang.
Sham mein to hoon rang gaya hoon main, but Gaur
Sham Rang, Gaur Rang, when you immerse yourself, then you are past all these three Guni Maya, Gunamayi Maya. Right? Lord Krishna himself has said, Hevi Dyosha Gunamayi Maya Mam Duratyaya. He says it's very difficult to overcome it. He's himself saying, but when you surrender unto me, it becomes, how easy? He says, otherwise, it is a bhav sagar, like an ocean for you to cross, which seems impossible. But the bhakt or a devotee and the person who surrenders to me, for him, it becomes very easy. You know how much easy? That entire bhav sagar would shrink to a water worth a hoof of a calf. Hoof of a calf is this much. Chullu bhar pani they say, this much water. And then you can cross.
That's why I experienced that. That's why I know that.
That's what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Okay?
Yeah. And second thing about the slave. See, we all are slaves of Krishna, aren't we? But can we be, or are we?
We are eternal servants of God because we are his fragmental parts. However, we have chosen to serve his lower energy, which is Maya. That too for our sense gratification. That is the problem. And Maya is telling us, why are you coming to me? It's slapping us and saying, go to my master. But we are saying, no, we will serve you only because we get bliss in you. And it slaps again. Again, we say, no, we want to do it only. Why it's not working? So that cycle is repeating. That is why we are here.
Okay, got it. And one request I want to make to my group members, selfless के भागीदारी है मेरे साथ साथ. आप सबसे मैं विनती करना चाहूंगा कि प्लीज अपने अपने कैमरास का ऑन रखें. पॉइंट्स हमें मिलते रहेंगे. अगर हम अपना अपना काम करेंगे तो हमें अच्छा लगेगा. जैसे मेरे ग्रुप में 7 लोग हैं, तो मैं सबसे रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूंगा. और भी जो हमारे साथी हैं 4 लोग सेवा वाले, मोनिका जी और शिरम्या जी, उनका भी कैमरा ऑन नहीं होता कभी. तो आपसे मैं विनती करूंगा प्लीज, दैट व्हाट वी कैन डू, वी कैन प्रीच. जब हम खुद ही कुछ काम नहीं करेंगे तो हम लोगों को क्या बताएंगे करने के लिए.
Okay, fun has already started.
Thank you so much.
Fun has already started. Okay, good. I think you are doing some pre-point accumulation. So Sandhya is going to talk more about it.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you.
So we are going to have a lot of stuff that will call for points. So it's going to be interesting. I think I'll see more cameras now. I can already visualize it happening. So very nice. Yeah. Yes. Any more? I think I see quite a few hands. Yes, let's pick up one.
Sure. Thank you, Shyamji. Samji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. So Nitinji, Parikar's associates, Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, these also come under associates.
Yeah, they are also Parikars. Think about it.
So we could think of them also.
So are you going to think about their good virtues?
I don't want to, but it should give us the same result, right? Associates means divine.
Yeah, so basically in yoga, they say that, in order to do Anulom Vilom, all you need to do is like this, right? Simply. But that doesn't seem very appealing, right? And now if I'll tell you, you do it like this, So let's keep it simple.
Yeah, this is advanced one.
So let's keep it simple. God has given us better things, so we can keep it simple for ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Samji. Radhe Radhe Lakshmi ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Lakshmi ji.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Is it the same Leelas and Gun the same or little differences there?
Sorry, what did you say?
Virtues and pastimes which you are mentioning on the screen. What exactly the difference?
Pastimes are the Leela, like you did the Damodar Leela. Virtues are how beautiful Krishna is, how graceful Krishna is, how kind Krishna is. Okay. You are focusing on that good part of it. See what I'm saying?
Okay. And this Parikar, when we go for satsang with the groups who are with the same minded, those are also included in that, or?
No, Parikar is the God's Parikars, like in his Leelas, divine Leelas or saints themselves. Those are satsangis. They are wannabe Parikars, okay? Wannabe Parikars.
Okay, right. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Lakshmi ji. Arjun ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Yeah, Nitin ji, actually, I think my question is very similar to what Lakshmi ji asked, I think previously. Just that I also wanted to understand that. So when we in this hexagon here, right? So the Leela pastimes thing, I thought that will encompass everything else. Like when you talk about the pastimes, it also talks about the virtues, it also talks about the roop and the names of God also. But I wasn't sure if they're all separate categories.
Right. I mean, he's just given you a lot of things would be encompassing, but yeah, I mean, when you're thinking about pastimes, there's an overlap with the virtue. That's fine, perfectly okay. It's all going to have the same purifying effect on you.
Okay. And yeah, on a lighter note, in response to Samji's thing about thinking about Ravana, actually, Ravana was a very good administrator. The only downside of Ravana was he could not control his senses towards women. But it is also mentioned that Ravana was one of the top administrators of his time. So you can take the good side of it if you want.
That's a good one. Yeah. Thank you for simplifying.
Yeah. He was Shiv Bhakt also. He was Mahan Shiv Bhakt.
Yeah, he was a
very
very
Pandit too, by the way. Lord Ram sent Lakshman to get the words of wisdom from him when he was about to die. So, yeah, so Samji needs a hack to everything, right? I mean, and loves to make things, simple things difficult. So, we'll give you the satisfaction of
Or maybe Samji can think about Jai Vijay, because Ravana was Ravan and Kumbhakarna were the Jai Vijay in their pastime.
Yeah, they were actually realized people only. Great. Thank you, Arjun. I see a couple of other hands before we move to our next segment.
Chandraji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Chandraji.
Radhe Radhe. Nitinji, I loved your analogy of the Sato pure brain and the tainted brain with the Rajas and the Tamas. And we all need God and saints. And we need the Rup Dhyan to wash off all these impurities from our mind too. Just like you said, the soiled cloth, the stained, you need the detergent and the soap over there. Beautiful session today with so much deep meaning and clarity, to focus on our practice of Rup Dhyan, which is really so very important to help us throughout the day. Thank you again, Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, it's all Maharajji's analogies. I have the fortune of putting it in pictorial forms and present it. But yeah, all analogies are coming from Maharajji, and Swamiji has beautifully explained it to us. And if you look at these colors, right, Bhakti or Rup Dhyan is an emotional meditation. And it's only when you become emotional, that's when the cold wax, it melts. And these colors will start melting away and new colors will start getting added. So you have to first melt the wax for the other colors to take its place on top of the colors which are already there. And it's a very beautiful analogy, right? You're just applying detergent and water to it to clean it, and that comes in form of God and Guru only. All right, thank you. Let's, last but not the least, Annapurna ji.
Annapurna ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yes, talking about Ravana, I remember that, when they want to start the war, final war with Ravana, Rama sends Lakshmana to Ravana to set a Muhurta, because he was a Brahmin and, Vasishtha, he could not contact him. So I was reminded of that.
Yep.
He had a lot of, and he sets the Muhurtam for starting the war. And then in a serial I remember watching, and he says, that he because he knows that Rama is God, he says that you have to give me the moksha or something else like that. He talks like that, He sets the Muhurta for the war, final war. Yeah, I was reminded, I thought I should, bring it to your attention. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Annapurna ji, for sharing that. Yes, he was a big Pandit as well. Okay. Great. So with that, we come to the end of today's session, at least from
Can we take one more last question, Nitinji, please?
Sure.
That is from Sairamji.
Yeah.
He has a question, what about Guru? Is he also in the list of name, Roop, Leela, Dham, etc.? Can Guru be considered a parikar? Can we contemplate on Swamiji?
Okay. Yeah. So let me answer this question. Guru, yes. In fact, scriptures say, Acharya mam vijani navamat anyet karhichit. Basically, there is no difference between God and Guru, provided the Guru is God realized. So you can actually complete your God realization just by focusing or doing Roop Dhyan or following the instruction of your Guru alone. We'll go much deeper into this topic when we pick up on 4.34. But to answer your question, the answer is yes. Okay. And if you have a good reason to believe Swamiji is God realized, then yes, you can. Regardless, I would say you are in safe hands. If you do that, you'll be much better off from where you are right now. But in our scriptures, when you do dhyan or follow the instruction or become Sharanagat to Guru, God realization will happen even in that way. And in fact, it makes it easy. See, for God, we have never seen, right? We have not seen. We try to simulate Guru, it becomes easy. But the premise is your buddhi should not come that, hey, this guy is flesh and blood and how can it be Guru and who knows kind of a deal, right? That kind of a sentiment will dilute it. And that is why even Maharaji used to say, keep both God and Guru side by side, because if your buddhi starts playing tricks, then rather than, progressing, you may do, damage to your spiritual journey in the process. So be careful about it. But yes, if you do it with Guru only, that itself is good enough. You don't need anything else. So it's very simplified process if you look at it that way. And we are very fortunate, okay, in that sense. If you have a live Guru, like you have hit a jackpot, I don't know, much more than a jackpot in life. Okay, but we'll go much more deeper into this topic. It's a very important question, but Sairamji, hopefully you got your answer. Okay, with that, we come to the end. Tomorrow, we will continue with our discussion. We will pick up another fascinating topic, the fundamental mistake that we all have done. How can we rectify it, and what is that mistake to begin with? We'll talk about that. Let's move on to our devotional segment. Are there any folks who want to lend their beautiful voice, devotional voice, chanting today?
Raise your hand.
3 hands today.
You're ready, yeah. Or maybe we have to spin the wheel.
If we have more interest, see, the wheel will become a very important point, okay, when we get into our Seva formal launch, maybe sometime next week, because whichever name gets picked, get the point around it, right? So wheel will become very important. For now, Shyamji, you want to sing? Ashutoshji wants to sing. Is there anybody else? We can have probably 2 people, maybe 1 more. If not, maybe I can take time to sing maybe something. But let's start with Shyamji then. 3 people should be good enough for today.
I raised my hand because Monica ji had raised a hand initially. उनके पास कुछ कहने को था, तो then she suddenly disappeared. I saw her again, and now she's not there. If she can come on the screen again. Okay. Monica ji, thank you so much for the camera.
I see Seema like there as well. Radhe Radhe Seema, good to see you. So
Radhe Radhe Monica ji.
It was a battle between enthusiastic and selfless group. Somebody raised hand, the other one raised as well. So I can already see that competitive spirit coming out, which is kind of interesting. Okay, Ashutoshji, I think you are prepared. So go ahead, please. You wanted to sing something. And Seema is going to sing something as well. I can see that.
Radhe Radhe, Ashutoshji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, am I audible?
Yes, very much.
Okay. Like this Kirtan happened this Sunday satsang, and I like this very much, so I'll say the 4 lines.
Sure, go ahead, please.
गोविंद मेरी यह प्रार्थना है, भूलूं न मैं नाम कभी तुम्हारा, यह नाम तेरे दिन रात गाऊं, गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति, गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति, गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। नारे धराधाम सुपुत्र प्यारे, कलत्र सहबांधव हेतु सारे, कोई न साथी हरि को पुकारो, गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेती, गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। सच्चे सखा है हरि ही हमारे, माता पिता शील शोबंधु प्यारे। भूलो न भाई दिन रात गाओ, गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेती, गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। देहांत काले तुम सामने हो, वंशी बजाते मन को लुभाते। देहांत काले तुम सामने हो, वंशी बजाते मन को लुभाते। गाते यही नाम तन नाथ त्यागुं, गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेती, गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। Thank you, Radhe.
Thank you, Ashutosh ji. Wonderful, very nice. Lot of claps I can see. And it's a beautiful bhajan, like so many bhajans, compositions from Maharaj ji. So thank you so much for that, Ashutosh. All right, we have 2 more hands. So let's move on to Monica ji. And do we have Seema as well, or it's going to be solo today?
Monica ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे एवरीवन। नितिन जी, मैंने ना डिवोशन सेक्शन के लिए हैंड रेज नहीं किया था, मैंने पहले भी किया था because Shyam ji has put me on spot today. So just to tell him that today Seema was coming back from New Jersey, right? So because of that I was like on and off on camera. Okay. So finally she told me, अगर नितिन भाई ने मुझे बोला था ना कि लड्डू गाएगी तो मैं गा देती, बट सीमा बोले से मैं भाग रही हूँ, तो वो चले गई ऊपर.
Okay, Laddu can sing. Okay, you can call her back, but you can go as well. Are you going to sing today, or are you going to call her out to sing, or how's it going to be like?
Recovering from a cold, Nitin ji, last time की तरह हो जाएगा, आवाज कुछ और ही निकल आएगी, तो next time I'll sing next time.
So you can negotiate with Laddu in the meantime while we can do some. We can proceed with Manoranjan ji in the meantime. Yes. And I see Himani joining. Okay, yes. So she might be singing today. You never know. Okay, you can call Laddu in the meantime.
Manoranjan ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
You're audible.
Yeah, namaskaram to all of you. Just actually, I'll share one doha, Kabir doha, on today's topic, today's Bhagavad Gita. Actually, I was not able to share earlier. So it says that Jini ghat prem na, Jini ghat preeti na prem ras, और रसना नहीं नाम, तेनर इस जग में उपज भये बेकाम कबीरा, उपज भये बेकाम. Sant Kabir is actually saying that those who do not have a preeti for God, and those who do not take the name of the Almighty, their life become wasteful in this world. So let us not make our life wasteful in this world. Thank you.
Beautiful, very nice. And it's amazing how you're able to pull out the relevant dohas from Kabir ji, which is so relevant to the discussion that we are having. Amazing, very nice, Manoranjan ji. Always a pleasure to hear from you. Okay. Next, Anita ji, you wanted to go?
Anita ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, 1 minute. I was typing. Radhe Radhe. I have a very simple bhajan, which there is a history for this bhajan. Like I heard this bhajan 22 years back when I was in studying in my master's convocation. Last day of that day, one of my friends sang this bhajan. I loved it so much. Like that one line was stuck with me, but I didn't know the lyrics for that. So I searched. Afterwards, I became busy in my worldly stuff, and later on, I searched it everywhere in Google, YouTube, wherever I can. But I could not able to find the lyrics for this. But later on, I finally thought of getting the lyrics from here. At least somebody can get me the lyrics here. But somehow, last month of the last year, I got the lyrics for this on YouTube, and I saw 2-3 videos of that, and make my own version of that, what I heard, and I'm just presenting it. But I attempted to sing when I was in high school in front of many people. I was nervous, so for so many days I couldn't able to lift my hand to sing, but somehow I am attempting. I don't know how it goes. Just bear with me.
Sure. You have
It's a,
our best wishes and we are all ears. Please go ahead, Amitaji.
Thank you. It goes like, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Jai Jai Gopi Manohari, Giridhari, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Sugandha Tulasi Dalavanamali, Sugandha Tulasi Dalavanamali, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Munijana Sevita Madhava Murahara, Munijana Sevita Madhava Murahara, Murali Manohara Giridhari, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Jai Jai Gopi Manohari, Giridhari, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Sugandha Tulasi Dalavanamali, Sugandha Tulasi Dalavanamali, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Munijana Sevita Madhava Murahara, Munijana Sevita Madhava Murahara, Madhava Murahara, Madhava Murahara, Munijana Sevita Madhava Murahara, Murali Manohara Giridhari, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari, Jai Jai Gopi Manohari, Giridhari, Giridhari Jaya Giridhari. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Anitaji. Very nice. I'm glad you were able to come out of that nervousness and be able to, sing it in front of all the audience, even though not on camera. So thank you so much for that beautiful bhajan. And I'm glad you got the lyrics as well. And thank you so much for that. All right. Now we move on to our next guest, which is, her name is Laddu, also known as Seema, but primary name is Laddu. So go ahead, Laddu. It's pleasure to have you back on the session and can't wait to hear your bhajan today.
Thank you, Vaya. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe, please go ahead. Yeah.
Radhe Radhe Pallavi ji.
Radhe Radhe Laddu ji.
रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम, सुंदर विग्रह मेघ श्याम, गंगा तुलसी शालग राम, भद्र गिरीश्वर सीताराम, भगत जन प्रिय सीताराम, जानकी रमणा सीताराम, जय जय राघव सीताराम, रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम.
Are you done? Very nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Very nice. Beautiful. Looks like you've been practicing this bhajan for the last, while you were not present here. Loved it. I know put you on a spot, but you delivered it. Like, you can sleepwalk through your singing bhajans. Beautiful. Loved it. And pleasure to see you back.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Seema and Laddu, rather. And wonderful. So with that, I think we come to the end. Maybe I can sing a couple of lines because we have spoken about Ram Bhagwan and we have spoken about Krishna Bhagwan. So then I'll sing one which will talk about both of them. Okay. Maybe a couple of lines and that's about it. I think we have time for Pallavi. Yeah, I did not take much time because I don't remember it completely anyways.
Please go ahead, Nitinji.
Ram Bhagwan and Krishna Bhagwan both, okay. रघुराज कहें यदुराज कहें, तुम रूप अनूप दिखाते हो। रघुराज कहें यदुराज कहें, तुम रूप अनूप दिखाते हो। कभी धनुष बाण धरि आते हो, कभी मुरली मधुर बजाते हो। जय जय राम राम राम, जय जय श्याम श्याम श्याम, जय जय राम राम राम, जय जय श्याम श्याम श्याम. All right. I said 2 lines, I'll do 2 lines only.
Lovely, lovely, beautiful. Bhavpurna rendition, Nitinji. Very nice.
All right. I think we had a wonderful session like we always do. So tomorrow we'll continue in our discussion on the next shloka. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful evening, great rest of your day, and fill out the feedback tracker. If you have not signed up for Seva, this is your opportunity. We didn't talk about that Sandhya today. Let's talk about it tomorrow again. Okay. We'll talk about how it's going to pan out and what are the things you can do to earn points for your team and draw the grace of God, Guru, and the entire universe around. Okay. All right. Have a wonderful day. Good night. Radhe Radhe from my side.
Thank you, Nitinji, for such an awesome session. Thank you, all of you, for beautiful chantings, renditions, bhajans, and enthusiastic participation. Stay blessed. See you all tomorrow.
Yep. See you tomorrow. Radhe Radhe.